4, it's lovely to have you with me this morning. Do enjoy these lessons. If I am a little bit tired today, it's because we have a new puppy and she didn't sleep all the way through the night. She's sleeping now though, but maybe in a lesson to come I will introduce her to you. Let's jump into today's maths. As per normal, the first thing we're going to do is our mental arithmetic, and because today's lesson is multiplication, it's going to all be about times tables. Just a reminder, if you'd like to email me, you can email me grade4@worksheetcloud.com. I do encourage you to do it, especially if perhaps you come across an answer in a worksheet and you're like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm sure I did it right and it's different to the answer. I make mistakes too, and you can always email me and check. So grade4@worksheetcloud.com, and after the lesson, click on the link above, do the worksheet, just to make sure that you've mastered what it is we do today. Mental arithmetic. You have 40 seconds. Sometimes you've got to give the answer. Sometimes it's one of the numbers that leads to the answer. You know how this works. Your 40 seconds start now. About halfway. And stop. Okay, I think I might have given you a few seconds extra. The flower in the corner is obscuring my clock and I can't see it. But let's do the answers. 7 times 6 is 42. 10 times something is 40. 10 times 4 is 40. Something times 2 is 10. 5. So the missing number in number 3 is 5. Number 4, 9 times 5 is 45. Number 5, 10 times 7 is 70. So the answer to number 5 is 10. 6 times something gives me 18. 6, 12, 18. 6 times 3. 8 times 10 gives me 80. 9 times 3 for question 8 is 27. Number 9, 7 times 7 is 49. Number 10, 2 times something is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. If you need to go over or you didn't catch all of them, you weren't able to mark them because I was going a little quick, just rewind the video and watch it again. You can mark the ones you missed. Okay, on to multiplication. I didn't introduce myself yet. Of course, I'm Mr. Travis. I'm sure you've been watching these lessons long enough that you know that. Mr. T as well, if you'd rather call me that. Okay, so multiplication. And our goals for today, for this lesson, first of all, understand that there are different correct ways to multiply. Just because I'm showing you one doesn't mean that it's the only one. There are 3 or 4 different ways that work quite nicely. I just particularly chose this one because it's the one that I found works the best. It's the most versatile. It's the simplest. Vedic multiplication, which is an ancient Indian method, is very nice and quick for people who have exceptional mental arithmetic. If you are such a person, maybe look it up because it is something that you can do in a very short time. It takes a very little space. So that's Vedic multiplication. But the way we're going to do today is very efficient. It works well. And that's what the goals for second and third goals are. So first of all, be able to do column the method, which I call smiley multiplication, for when we are doing 1 times 3-digit numbers. So that's like a 1 or like 2 times 165. That's what I mean by a 3-digit number, a number with 3 digits in it. And secondly, doing 2 numbers by 2 numbers. So multiplying 45 by 56, where it's 2 numbers and 2 numbers. So I'll show you both of those. The 2 methods I'm going to glance at. I'm not going to show you all of them, but first of all, the breaking up method, and secondly, the column method, which is what I call smiley multiplication. Let's go to the whiteboard. So I thought I would start off just doing 7 times 24. And I realize I've showed you how to do this as a mental one with the breaking up. I'll also do a bigger one for you as an example. So if I was doing this, I would first go, let me do this 7 times 20 plus 7 times 4. So all I did was break my 20 into 20 and 4. 7 times 20 is 140, plus 7 times 8 is 28. 7 times 4 is 28, equals 168. So there we go. There's that method. I'm going to do another example quickly before I move on to showing you the other method. So this one is a single digit by a double digit. I'm going to do 3 examples: a single by a double, a single by a triple, and a double by a double. Okay, so next up we want to do a single times a triple, so 8 times 248. So again, we're going to break up the 248 into pieces. So I'm going to go 8 times 200. I'm going to go 8 times 40. And I'm going to go 8 times 8. Once I've broken that up, I'll add them back together again. Some people lay these out differently. For the third one, I'll show you the different layout. But again, it's still breaking up and putting it back together again. Okay, so 8 times 200, I've got 2 smiling zeros. 8 times 2 is 16. I've got 1 smiling 0 here. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 8 is 64. I can put these back together again. I've got a 4. I've got an 8. I've got a 9. And I've got a 1. So 1,984. And the final example I'm going to give, which I'm going to still do the breaking up method, but I'm going to break it up in a slightly different format, so you can see just a slightly different layout. So the next one is 16 times by 35. So I'm first going to do my 10 times my 10, so that's 10 times by 30. Then I'm going to do 10 times my 5. Then I'm going to do 6 times 30. And finally, I'm going to do 6 times 5. So this is also just breaking up. This was when we broke up over there. But this time, I've just broken it up underneath each other. So 10 times 30 is 300. 10 times 5 is 50. 6 times 30 is 180. I'm not spending a lot of time on working these out. We have done a lesson on how to work with the smiling zeros, and so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Maybe if you're not seeing how I'm getting the numbers quickly, perhaps pop back and watch that lesson again. And 6 times 5 is 30. And now what I need to do is to just add them together again. So 0, 0, 0, 0. 0 plus 5 is 5, plus 8 plus 0 is 13, carry 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the answer is 830. Okay, so again, that's just breaking up. So what I'm going to do now is to use these same numbers, but this time I'm going to use the column method. So because multiplication, we can switch the order and still get the same answer, I'm going to switch and put the bigger number on the top and the smaller number underneath. And I set this up like this. It's not a very straight line. Of course, when you work in your book, you're always using a ruler because mathematicians are nice and neat. Taking note that we line things up on the right-hand side. That is important. So what I'm going to do now is I'm first going to multiply this over here. So 4 times 7 is 28. I put my 8 over there and carry my 2. So that's the 2 from the 20. Because it, excuse me. Oh, sorry. So what you can see is we did 4 times 7 and we got 28. I put the 8 over here, but because the 2 from the 28 was in the tens, I carried it to the tens column up here. Now I'm going to do the next step, which is to go 2 times 7, which is 14, and then I add the 2 to make 16. I put the 6 there, I carry the 1, but there's nothing underneath it, and it falls straight down, and so my answer is 168, which you can see is what I got on the other side in the other method. So I just feel that this takes up a little bit less space than all the writing out we've got over there. But we did it exactly the same way. Well, we did it, I'll show you. So when I did 4 times 7, I got 28, which is over there. And then when I went 2 times 7, I got 14. But bearing in mind that this is actually a 20 because it's in the 10 space. So I got 140, which is over there. And then the extra 2 to make up the 6 comes from when I added the 2 from the 28. So this just kind of does it all in one step, so I get to my answer without having to add the pieces together quite as in such a complicated way. Okay, let's look at the second one, which is a 1 by 3 digit. So we had 8 times 248. So I'm going to again lay it out with the bigger number at the top. We can change the order with multiplication and we still get the same answer. So 248 times by 8 or multiplied by 8. Making sure we line things up on the right hand side. Step 1, I go 8 times 8, which is 64. The 4 goes there and I carry my 6 to the next column. Then I go 4 times 8, so 8, 16, 24, 32. 32 plus the 6 that I've carried makes it 38. I put the 8 there and carry the 3. Now I'm going to go 2 times 8, which is 16, plus the 3, 17, 18, 19. Carry the 1, drops down, and my answer is 1984, which is what you can see I got on the other side. It's the same answer, but this time, this is how much space it took me as opposed to this amount of space. So I feel that it's a more efficient method in terms of space saving, and just generally it works better for me, and that's why I choose to do it. And that's the one we're going to focus on today. Okay, and this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, but still not very. I'm just going to do the third example, which was a 2 by 2, so 16 times 35. I do need to take a moment to explain to you what each of these is. I'm going to choose to put the bigger number on top, which we can do because multiplication doesn't matter. I'm going to lay this out. Okay, so what I'm first going to do is I'm going to go 6 times 35, and that's going to happen in this line over here. Right. Okay, so let's choose a color for that. Let's do 6 times 35. In the next line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 10 times 35. So this one here is actually a 10, and I'm going to go 10 times 35. So 10 times 35. But as we learned with that smiling 0 when we were multiplying by 10, if I've got something like this, I can just put my 0 there. Sorry, I wrote the wrong number there, it's 35. I can put my 0 there, and once I've done that, I can treat the 1 as a 1 and it'll work out the right answer. So that's really kind of neat. And that is what we're going to do. So that's why we've got now a second row. And once we've got the 2 answers, we're going to add them together. So let's start with our purple row first. So what I'm going to do is the same like what I was doing above. I'm going to go 5 times 6 first. So 5 times 6 is 30. And then I carry my 3. Then I'm going to go 3 times 6 or 6 times 3, which is 18, plus the 3 is 19, 20, 21. I've now used my 3 up, and so I'm going to cross it out just to make sure I don't get confused. It's easy for me because I'm using colors, but if you're using pencil in your book, it might not be so easy. So I just think it's a useful thing to get into the habit of crossing it out. Okay, in the next line, 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. And now that I have both of those answers down here, I go 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 5 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. And what I noticed here is that I got an incorrect answer for one of them because they should work out the same. And so as I'm always doing with my maths, I had a quick look at that. So I'm first of all being aware, and I saw very quickly where I made my mistake, and it's here. So I said 6 times 5, but I accidentally wrote down 50. So let me quickly go back and fix that one for you. So it should be 6 times 5, which is 30, which now means I've added this up incorrectly. So let's go back and add that correctly now. So zeros stay. 5 plus 8 plus 3 is 16, carry 1. 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 5. And there we go, 560. Good. So now we've seen that when you get an answer, you should always look back to see if that answer makes sense. Okay, we have some examples to work through today. Let's have a look at the first one now. So please get your pencils and papers ready because I'm going to ask you to do some as well. So starting off with a couple of easy ones. 23 times 3. When I say easy, it might not be easy for you yet. I just mean the simpler, as in less digits. So I'm going to do this one quickly for you, and then I've got 2 for you to try on your own. So 23 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. There we go. That's your answer, as simple as that. I realize that some of these numbers are quite simple and you could probably work them out in your head. Let's do 13 times by 5. I will lay it out for you. 13, 5. I will work this one out as well because the other one didn't have a carry. So 3 times 5 is 15. 5 comes here and I carry the 1. 1 times 5 is 5, plus the 1 is 6, and the answer is 65. Oh, I keep doing that. Let me make the screen a little bit smaller. There we go. Now I can fit a little bit more on the screen. Okay. Next to this, I'm going to do question number 3. And this one I'd like you to try on your own. So 6 times 23. Lay it out like this. When we have a single digit here, we're only going to have one line of our answer. And question 4 as well, which is 57 times by 8. I'll lay both of these out for you. Right, if you'd like a little bit more time, then please pause the video. Let's go through these quickly. So 3 times 6 is 18, carry the 1. 2 times 6 is 12, plus the 1 is 13, carry the 1, drops down 138. 7 times 8 is 56, carry the 5. 8 times 5 or 5 times 8 is 40, plus 5 is 45. Carry the 4, drops down. Answer 456. So now we're going to do a 1 digit by a 3 digit. And when I say a 3 digit, I'm talking about a number like this that has 1, 2, 3 digits in it. And timesing that by a single digit number. This one I'll lay out and then I'll give you a moment to just get through it. A moment is 90 seconds. I won't give you 90 seconds. I'll give you less. I'll write down number 6 in the meantime. So I'll give you about 30 seconds for that. So 20 minutes and 30 seconds. If you'd like a little bit more time, just pause the video. So this time we've got 3 numbers at the top, but it works exactly the same as before. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 6 times 5 is 30, plus the 1 is 31, carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8, and my answer is 810. Pause the video so that we can do, if you want to do the next one, otherwise I'm going to push through it because I want to get on to the 2 by 2, which takes a little bit more practice. 5 times 6 is 30, carry the 3. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 3 is 27, carry the 2. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14, carry the 1, and drop down 1,470. Okay, 7. We are looking for the first time at a 2-digit by a 2-digit, what I like to call smiley multiplication. Let's have a go. So we lay it out the same. I think it's a really, really, really good habit to get it in, to lay everything out before I start doing any calculations. That way I avoid the mistake of forgetting to put the second line in or forgetting to put the smiley face in, that thing. So 43 times 27. I'm going to have 2 lines with the second one on the right hand side having a smiling 0. And a reminder that that's because in this line I'm doing 20 times 43, and I'm just going to move this across to here where the smile is, and that way I can forget about the 0 and treat it as a 2. So in the first line, I'm going to do this line in pink. Oopsie. So 3 times 7 is 21, carry the 2. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30. Carry the 3, drops right down, there we go. Next line I'm going to do in yellow. So this time, let's cross those numbers out so we don't accidentally use them. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. Now all I need to do is add those together. 1 plus 0 is 1. 0 plus 6 is 6. 3 plus 8 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 drops down. 1,161. Okay, this one I'd like you to try on your own. It's the same format. I'll do the layout for you. 56 times by 34. Go. Right, number 8. If you'd like to give yourself a little bit longer, number 8. If you'd like to give yourself a little bit longer, then just pause the video. Here we go. This line I'm going to do in green. So 4 times 6, 24. You can see how if your times tables are bad, this is going to be difficult. So even if you know how to do it, you might still get the wrong answer if your times tables aren't good. So please, 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 please learn your times tables. 4 times 6 was 24, carried the 2. 5 times 4, or 4 times 5 is 20, plus the 2 is 22. Carry the 2, drops right down, there we go. Next line I'm going to do in this color. 3 times 6 is 18, and I carry the 1. Oops, better cross those out. 3 times 5 is 15, plus the 1 is 16. Carry the 1, drops down. There's my 2 answers so far. Need to add those together now. 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 8 is 10. Carry 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 6 is 9. 1 drops down. So the answer, 1,903. Okay, I've done number 9, including layout. For number 10, I'm not going to put the layout in. You're going to need to do that. So let's see if you can do number 9 and number 10 on your own. I'll give you another 15 seconds for number 9. I know I'm probably rushing you, and it's important to be slow and careful and methodical and right, but I would like to just get through number 9 and 10, and you can always pause the video if you'd like more time. I shall doodle on the side in the meantime. Okay, number 9, 5 times 5 is 25, put the 5 there, carry the 2. 7 times 5 is 35, plus the 2, 36, 37. 7 goes there, 3 carries, drops down. There we are. Next line. 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 7 is 28, plus the 2 is 29, 30. Carry the 3, 3 drops down. Now I add 5 plus 0 is 5, 7 plus 0 is 7, 3 plus 0 is 3. 3 on its own is 3. So the answer, 3,375. Right, I haven't done number 10 at all. You're going to lay it out all by yourself. I'm going to give you a minute for this. I'll finish drawing my vine while you finish up there. Ten seconds left. Right, let's go. So first up, I hope you got the layout correct. Let's check. 68 times 37. Depending on how your teacher marks, I'll show you where your marks come from when you do this. Normally when I'm marking a multiplication, when it's 2 digits by 2 digits, I give 3 marks for it, and I'll show you where those marks come from. So first up, I'd like to do the first line in yellow. 7 times 8 is 56, 6 carry 5. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 5 is 47. finished with those guys. Next line I'm going to do in purple. 3 times 8 is 24, carry the 2. 3 times 6 is 18, plus the 2 is 20. Carry the 2, 2 drops down. Now we just need to add them together. 6 plus nothing is 6. 7 plus 4 is 11, carry 1. 1 plus 4 plus 0 is 5. And 2 drops down, and my answer, 2,516. If you were in my class and I was marking your work for this, I would give you, first of all, a mark for getting that line right. Secondly, a mark for getting that line right. Or thirdly, a mark for getting that line right. By the time you get to grade 5, I would only give you a half a line for each of those and a mark for your answer. So it's very important that you get those lines right. If your teacher is very nice and kind, they might give you method marks. So and I'll explain what I mean by method marks. So method marks is marking when you have managed to do the correct process, even though you made a mistake in your times table. So let's say, for example, you put a 5 over there by mistake, then you couldn't get the mark for that line. But the next line you got right, you got that half mark. And the last line, they might give you a half mark because although you didn't get the answer right, because this would have been a 5 as well, you did the right process and you have added correctly. So they would give you a half a mark for that. So you could still get marks for getting some of it right, even though you might have got the wrong answer. Let's get rid of that mess there. Whew, that's quite a lot to learn, but knowing 2 digits by 2 digits is as much as you need in grade 4. And in fact, you don't really go much further in grade 5. Some teachers will get you to do 3-digit by 2-digit multiplication, but not all. And that's pretty much where we finish up for today, grade 4s. It's been lovely having you with us. It's been a little bit of a long lesson. Please click on the worksheet above and just do those problems just to make sure that you've got the 2-digit by 2-digit particularly, and that you're able to do all of those multiplication problems. If not, always able to watch the lesson again, or you can email me for some more help on grade 5 at worksheetcloud.com. Have a fantastic day, grade 4s. Goodbye.